Thanks for sticking around, everybody. Hopped off the plane over here in North America. We got Nemesis versus Hydra as our first set to round out the last half of the day. Of course, Nemesis, your MSI team, coming from this region a few weeks ago. And then Hydra, a few familiar faces, but, you know, a couple changes in that roster. Maybe makes for an interesting matchup. Dolson here for set 3, joined by Kresnik. And, you know, I still am kind of surprised that Cyclone lost. And if nothing else, that proves that some of these new faces, some of these changed around teams can give top teams like Nemesis, maybe in this case, a run for their money.
I mean, it even shows like the depth of the talent on both sides, right? Because Cyclone were the only team that I think put up a great fight at the MSI. So for a team like Vroom Vroom coming in and taking that win, I mean, that's crazy to me, because that's a team that could have maybe gone 3-2 with Hype Unit at that level.
Right. And in week 1, much the same as we would expect going into MSI, but we'll look at the standings and see where these two teams match up against one another heading into this matchup. And traditionally, again, it's Nemesis who is kind of locking in that top spot, and then some of the changes down the lineup, you know, at this point, though, with Onslaught. That's right, Onslaught and Nemesis fought each other week 1. Nemesis falls to them, so this is a chance for them. They would hope to get back on the board, but Hydra Gaming in that second place slot, only dropping a map to StreamX. They're probably feeling very confident coming into this one. It could be a rocky start for Nemesis.
I mean, you wouldn't expect, when you just looking at the names on the matchup, you wouldn't say, yeah, Nemesis is the 4th seed.
Yeah,
going into this.
I was surprised by that because I forgot that they played Onslaught already, that was the storyline last split, in that, you know, of the 4 regions, this was the only one where those 1 and 2 teams were taking maps off of one another. So already, and again, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Only one map into the standings here, but nonetheless, Nemesis.
No, this is actually we've already decided land.
Yeah, right. It's
so congratulations to Onslaught for
yeah, absolutely.
For
nothing else to be said at this point. But if nothing else, Nemesis, they're punching up. They need to beat the second place team in this region. And it's going to be a fun one today.
Yeah, I'd hope so. I mean, Hydra maybe feeling a little confident after that. Hopefully some of that for them at least carries over into this game. We'll have to see how they adapt. But Nemesis, I mean, they're used to being contested. This is the only region, at least in previous weeks, where it was fought back and forth. So it's not like they're no strangers to competition.
And Frog Isle, that's a place where the competition will begin. People love themselves some snipers here on this map. It's a very offensive, back and forth, fun type of map. These two teams, they already want to get it started on an aggressive, fast-paced front for sure.
Yeah, definitely. A map where, you know, double tank is king, even in triple DPS metas. So again, where you said where snipers reign, all that stuff. We'll have to see. I want to see how like the point tank battle goes, because I feel like that's something that's kind of, I mean, of course I'm a tank. Of course I'm going to say that, but I feel like it's a battle that's kind of undervalued on this map. You know, when people are like, you have to not only fight the other point tank, but you have to avoid pressure from danger and stage and window, while still trying to get cap time and stopping them, you know, like it's a
You're juggling like 6 chainsaws at once while trying to stand on the point.
You look at this map and you're like, oh, it's a Nara, and then you're like, yeah, it's a Nara getting shot at from 80 different directions all the time.
And you get a wall every once in a while to just buy you a little bit of space.
From just one.
From just one. Vivian, though, first pick here for Hydra, and you expect that with Tyra and Victor both off the board, as well as Leon. Damage
Quad
priority all across the board here, so Now you get that off-tank front line.
Yeah.
Not so much at a premium as it normally is.
Yeah, I mean, tanks are really good on this map, even though, like, console normally, like you mentioned, bans damages, but tanks are still fantastic on this map. I mean, just being able to control danger and, like I mentioned, controlling that difficult point fight is really big. They decide to go with a more damaging side there, grabbing the Atlas to control that danger. So hopefully that Genos boost will help him, for at least Nemesis, win those trades.
And we saw that with Makoa in our last set, where Makoa would end up being like 7th pick and then somehow still have, not somehow, but still have the most impact on the game. And, you know, obviously the priority damage dealers in console are a little different. The priority of then off tanks and all that sort of gets shifted around.
Yeah.
But Makoa, I mean, he was a great pick in the last set, not picked or banned yet here. Still could be a good pick. Atlas Makoa is a terrifying combo.
That is really scary.
Nemesis could go that way. Likely Hydra is done with their off tanks with a Nara Torvald locked in here.
I'll be honest, I was going to say I think they want a more stationary main tank, because right now Hydra, at least their first 3 picks to me says we're not moving. I mean, Torvald's not really, like, Torvald can walk. Nara can walk, Vivian can walk, but none of them have like crazy aggressive movement ability. So I figured Nemesis, to deal with that, they want someone who can kind of withstand the fire, because Hydra are looking like they're building heavy backline right now. And that's changing immediately. With that, if that con gets locked, I am completely wrong. I'm glad this is holding on my single so I can talk about it, just like this.
Yeah, it's absolutely perfect. They're going to go triple off-tank, triple frontline, if you will. One of them, of course, is the Torvald, likely just hanging out with Vivian for the game here, making sure she's nice and bubbled up, doing a little bit of extra damage. And once that opportunity in Chaos, if that's the route he chooses to go on the build, starts to wind up, and there's a Torvald bubble at the back, that's a high damage combo there. Nemesis, though, not a composition to scoff at. Your Terminus, you love some Term. He comes through
I do.
yet again for Nemesis.
Yeah, I mean, I think great composition from both teams. I want to give the edge to Nemesis, though, because of the Willow counter and the fact that Hydra doesn't really have a hard counter for it.
Well, this is a 2v4 matchup, but Hydra is your 2, Nemesis is your 4 somehow. Swinging up is the team on the right side of your screen here, looking for a win in game number 1. Need to get something started for themselves here.
Oh, well, thank you guys so much for game 1. Hydra Gaming versus Nemesis currently. This is about the second or so time it is that we've seen Terminus actually be locked in and meant to be locked in.
Yeah, people are they're messing with it on console. I'm frankly more surprised at this point to see triple frontline on Frog Isle. That's not something you see a lot of, Stefan. This map is so wide open, usually so punishable by these snipers, and that's what it is. It's like Nemesis have those tools on paper to deal, I think, with what Hydra Gaming have drafted here. Whether or not they can implement said tools often enough in practice, well, that's a different story, and that's what we're here to find out.
Yeah, Mother's Grace being pretty much the standard talent for Inara. Standard talent's really all around. You see that Tyler's trying to go immediately to point. Him and Terminus are really just duking it out. That's pretty much what Terminus has to do, but he has to back off. He immediately goes for the con, though. Fiery Impact, eating a few shots, a lot of damage, forcing him to back off, and the Strix is really just not only applying damage, but trying to pick them off right now.
And here you're going to see one of the weaknesses of this triple frontline composition is that it's just not going to be able to get to the Strix. He should be free-firing for the majority of this fight. What Blue is looking to do here is fight out of line of sight. Fire Impact, unfortunately, failing to do that.
Yeah, I mean, Terminus is going back on the point immediately to fight the Inara. Jeff is there as well to make sure they clean it up. 4 individuals are down on Hydra Gaming. Now the rest of them are going to try and push up, try and hold these side spots, or at least try and hold the main walkway to get back to point to prevent them from actually moving up.
54% grabbed, but unfortunately this is Nemesis completely and totally rooted in on this objective. It's going to be very difficult. This is the type of zone you can die for, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay because you're just trying to grab this payload before the enemy team can get back. But it looks like that will not be the way that Nemesis plays it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they are. Hill time all the way in the back. The Willow getting some shots off as well as dropping some dead zones. But the fact that Flame did go down first, that's going to be pretty big. They do run down the Torvald, though. Nice adjustment from Nemesis. The fact that he is down means that the rest of them won't really have any shields. They immediately just jump right onto the Vivian Nemesis, and the rest of them are trying to fight back as much as they can. With 99% on the point, though, it's going to be really hard for them to make it back. Yeah, they come right to point, but it's not going to be enough for them to cap it.
Stefan, I don't know. I was saying this is the kind of zone that you die for, and I think they could have stood to die for that zone, slow them down just a little bit more. They even handled that kind of sort of follow-up fight well, which is why I wasn't going to harp on it too much, because Target prioritized the Torvald. They really did a good job sort of ignoring this Vivian. Terminus does a good job just absorbing her in the power siphon. It's kind of a funny thing you can do with Terminus. You just put somebody, in the little like rage dome, and they can't do anything about it for a while. But at the end of the day, Hydra Gaming just so much staying power in this early game. That's the way this composition has to play out. They have to start, in the early game and do well, or I don't think they really have much of a chance at this game overall.
Yeah, through time and space comes through to try and see if he can get a pick of some sort. Doesn't actually find it, though. They do find some damage onto the Vivian, though. But Richie, the rest of them, the flashbang to come through. Overpower is missed from Impact. He tried to at least try and get somebody, but the fact that Terminus is right there, he can die immediately. Into them, here comes the revive. He's going to end up coming all the way back. Battle shot to make himself immune, and Anar and the rest of them are going to try and keep themselves alive as much as possible. He's soaking up so much damage from this flank, but goes down, unfortunately, at the very last moment.
It's wild how quickly even Terminus can fall to the Torvald Vivian. There's so much damage amp there. Willow Looked like she was headed off the map, but Faithflight is going to keep her up safe for the time being, right into the loving arms of Vivi.
It's going to be really hard for her to try and come up from the side right there, especially when she was so low ground below it. There was really only one spot she could go, and that was to Vivian. She'd either put it all on the line there or try and get a pick or just die, and she definitely ended up dying. Torvald to try and boost the damage. Oh, man, I was just about to say, I was like, I wonder if he's going to overpower in this situation, because he does have it. He does get the Terminus immediately. Rewind. They're trying to contest as long as they can, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. With Inara less than half health, can't even really stop it.
There it is. Hydra get the 2-0 start that every triple frontline draft seeks to get. This is important for them. We talked about why and how they're going to fall off. This is something that you don't expect to see quite so rapidly of a turnaround there. I thought Nemesis had that one. They were about 50% to 50%, but the zone was so good. Everybody was knocked off their horses. And then it just fell apart from there. 0-4 start for Flame Effects. 0-4 start from Whoosh as well. This is definitely a tough one to play around for Nemesis, because these other front lines, sometimes, you have to make that tough decision of, do I go to just contest? Do I go to just stall out the objective? Or do I do what Whoosh did a good job of last round in that take-back fight, which was I have to prioritize this Vivian, I have to shut this person down, or else they're just going to rip my team to pieces. It really is the only source of damage on this Hydra gaming roster, so I think Whoosh was right to do what he did. Yeah, here we go. Impact going all the way around, trying to, they're getting a little bit more aggressive with their pushes now. The Divider has to go up to stop the bullets coming out from Khan. Oh, but the Torvald ultimate, man. Unfortunately, the best part about that was for Nemesis, but unfortunately for Hydra, is that he managed to try and push off Willow and Atlas, two people who can easily make it back on the point, and now they're still in the same spot, taking these shots to try and find at least a kill or some damage. Well, comeback mechanic is in play for Nemesis for the time being. They haven't managed to get much for it. That's because Inara is still there, rooted on the objective. Look at where Grover's positioned as well. Man, this is nice, but the burst, my goodness, Vivian just disappeared. Yeah, the Whirlwind comes through to try and keep everybody alive as much as they can, but with Impact making not one but 2 kills and putting them on the board for Hydra, that's going to be a lot. Willow being the third, a triple kill for Impact, and that's going to be a lot for them, which is what's going to net them the 3rd point on Frog Isle. Well, it ain't pretty, but they're getting it done. Hydra Gaming grab back-to-back payloads. And if history's going to point in some direction, it tells us that Hydra Gaming would be able to 4-0 here. All they need to do is get this one converted. They have some pretty decent ultimates to do so, I might add. Seismic Crash is a great initiator. Overpower is great to just surgically remove somebody from the back line. If they can hit on all of these ultimates, I really think Hydra Gaming have a good chance of converting. Yeah, they're going to have to try their best, though. Hydra being forced a little bit on the back foot here. They have to give up the pressure just a little bit, having taken too much damage and just backing off in general. Impact, the Overpower and the Seismic Crash are both there, though. Vivian has her ultimate up with the Whirlwind steadily building. 2 ultimates online for Nemesis, though, with the Revive. The Resurrection coming back as well, slowly but surely. Seismic Crash trying to get things started, but it's going to be super unfortunate for them because they don't find it how they want to find it. Yeah, nobody gets stunned there. 1 minute 28 on the clock. Now Anar just focusing on moving the cart forward. It looks like it might be the call to just hang on for a second, move away from this payload. Somebody throwing out the pause, getting that thing sorted out. But if this game goes on longer, how does this game plan change? That's my main question for the squad right now. This triple front line isn't going to slow down anytime soon. The Grover's positioning well. Inara is just literally objective. That's all she's worried about doing. I think everybody else is doing a decent job babysitting Vivian, making sure that she stays. Because you could see, we pointed it out in the first round, even that Terminus. The second that Power Siphon dropped with the Field Study amp on top of Opportunity and Chaos, that just shredded him to pieces. So if this Vivian gets rolling, these team fights are going to end very, very quickly. Yeah, the Overpower is there, though. They do end up finding the kill. They have to make sure they kill him, and everyone backs off almost immediately to take cover. There's the Overpower they're waiting for. Manages to pick off Terminus, not once, but twice in that situation. Unfortunately, how many times do we have to teach this lesson? Terminus finally dies. Reanimate was expended. There's not a lot for Nemesis to dig in and hold here with. They have Faithlights and Flashbangs, neither of those being incredibly impactful. There's a time and space. Hopefully this Genos can make a miracle happen. He finds nothing. Yeah, it's not going to be enough for Nemesis. The Rewind actually comes through as well to force them all back. I believe the Deja Vu from Atlas forcing 2 of them back
really just on to into the position they were before. Willow goes all the way over the top, kills Business, but in the meantime, the rest of Nemesis is getting the business. A little bit too much for them to handle. Nice axe, and that nets Hydra the first game for the set, I believe.
That's a great start there. Yeah. It's going to be, you know, a way that Triple Tank just kind of wins games, man. It wasn't pretty. They got forced off the objective a couple of times. Not a lot of those slash lines are too attractive, but at the end of the day, Triple Frontline just muscles their way through, and that's why it's a viable strategy in Paladins.
Yeah, and I feel like it was really, really good for them just to have that Torvald for extra security. I mean, I feel like the bubbles not only were there, but just the con, just the everything to just make sure that Vivian could do what she needed to do and more than that, because they had so much peel for her to make sure she actually got out of that situation alive.
Definitely take a look at some of these stats here. You can see this Grover positioning, I mentioned it a couple of times, but being in range of so many people, being effective at all times during this game, 142,000 healing. Normally you don't see Genos get that blown out of the water, and this is a very kind of true representation of the healing. You could even factor in the fact that there's a dead zone online, right?
Right.
Some of this healing got blocked by Willow, and still Grover came out so far ahead, 5-0. A great game, frankly, from Hatsuchibi.
Yeah, really, really just dominant performance from them, just positioning themselves in such a way to keep their team not only alive, but also prevent himself from dying. 5-0 and 15. Really, really great job coming out from, I mean, just them in general. I mean, they did a good job.
Take a look at some of these replays now. So you can see Nemesis holding control initially, and once this take-back fight happened, they were able to boost themselves up very, very quickly to that 99% mark. Vivian was such a big part, though. They're basically the sole damage dealer for this squad of Hydra Gaming. Solid aim to take that Willow out of the sky, as well as solid bubbles. You know, you got to think your Torvald every once in a while, because this does take some semblance of timing. If you want to get the most out of Torvald, you have to be able to read your Vivian player, or whatever it is. Read your damage player, read your pocket, and say, all right, they're going in now. Like, this is usually the behavior that they usually lead into, you know, an offense, or they're falling back. I don't want to, you know, to bubble them too early here. I want to make sure that I'm on the same page as them and bubbling them as they are trying to go in as well. You don't want to force somebody to go in. They feel like they have to go in when you bubble them as well. So the Torvald plus X need to be on the same page at all times.
Well, with the first map being done, Frog Isle is taken. And because of that, we're going to go right to game 2, but not before we cut to this break.
SteelSeries, the official peripheral provider of the Paladins Console League.
I said Nemesis needed to find a way to get something going for them here in this split, and that is not it.
They got something going.
4-0. Yeah, they got the wrong thing going for them. Well pointed out there by Kresnik. 4-0 map 1 in this set. I expected Nemesis to have at least a couple of points. Hydra, though, apparently, if we want to shine the light on some good instead of on some bad in this set, Hydra apparently great team.
Yeah, I mean, the triple tank setup was really hard for them to deal with. I thought they would have the damage. I mean, they had the damage, but it just wasn't enough. They didn't have what they needed, and every ultimate, I think, from Hydra was so good. They caught Woosh on so many overpowers after he used Shatterfall, after he rezzed. They just had great use of their economy, and all over that was just dominant.
Yeah, they had potential energy, but couldn't convert it into the actual moving kinetic energy on that side for Nemesis. And you're right, though. I mean, the triple tank composition, I mean, we see that usually at least once or twice a set, a lot in the PCO last week as well. And it's something I'm surprised, honestly, more because like if you look at Na'Vi and the PPL, they're running triple DPS in a lot of their games and doing it pretty well. So maybe some more triple tank later on in this set. We didn't do it first of all, so let's see what the map bans are in this set. Obviously, Frog Isle is picked, so that one's off the table here. Timber Mill and Jag Falls not available for this set. And then Frozen Garden, Serpent Beach, some blue maps taken off the board as well there.
Some standards. I mean, Serpent, Jag, I would say, are pretty standard maps. Nemesis want to get rid of Timber. The sniper-centric map, I guess they just don't want to play that game, which makes it even more interesting that they go to Frog first, I guess.
And I'm curious because, I mean, we're talking about this triple front line and 0 tank bans in the last game. Terminus is I feel like so hit or miss today. I don't know what to make of kind of where he's at. I mean, situational, I guess, maybe team dependent. I mean, there's just so much, I think, that maybe has to go into a Terminus to make it work.
It's really just the composition in the map. Like you were mentioning it before, like you have to be dealing with backlines in an area where you can't get surrounded because his siphon is so like just concise in one little piece now that it used to be like the size of a truck. I don't know if you saw like that preview image that the dev posted on Twitter back then, but he literally spawned a truck every single time he right-clicked.
Well, it makes sense. He said it's map dependent. Let's see what map it's going to be for number 2. See if Terminus maybe is viable. Is Stone Keep a map-dependent map for Terminus?
If you want to control Keep, it could be okay. As a main tank, I think it might get a little rough once you go to the point. There's so many ways to get surrounded from Church, but I mean, Console is just seeing a lot of success with it, so wouldn't be shocked if it came out here.
Yeah, certainly some viability. Maybe Stone Keep for another time today. Hydra, well drafted last time around. Like you said, though, it seemed like Nemesis in their last draft had something put forward that honestly I thought looked decent into what Hydra were bringing, and on paper, it absolutely looked like the potential was there, but a quick 4-0 for Hydra, the momentum all on their side. This is now a very important map for Nemesis. If it's a loss and not any better than map number 1, you know, things get very interesting in the sense that Hydra is kind of keeping pace with Onslaught.
First pick last time as well, right? So Nemesis was second pick 2 games in a row?
Yes.
Interesting. So that means at least for one of their choices, they wanted to go second pick. So hopefully they manage to adapt their draft to that. Because, I mean, if they're in the same position, it is it is a different map, to be fair. But still, like, they have a lot they're going to have to change after how that last one went. Victor going first again. That hit scan DPS that didn't get banned, Hydra just take it.
Yeah, I mean, good you point out the bans because they're the exact same as game 1.
Except Vivian instead of Victor.
Vivian instead of Victor here in this case. Makoa is going to come back into this one as the second pick overall for Nemesis. I mean, it's a map where, maybe it was you or Gore, somebody, triple tank is, I guess, viable in any map, but Stone Keep is maybe not the best map for triple frontline.
Yeah, because it's easy to get surrounded, you know, from the Church, from the high ground. If they get a Drogos to spam down, that's really good too. I do find it interesting that Nemesis wanted to go with the Makoa after how hard their tanks got countered last game. I felt like the tanks both went 0-7, 1-7. So picking Makoa that early, I mean, yes, it's something standard you'd see on PC, but still, it didn't find. I don't know if they'll be able to find it. Their pressure got dealt with so effectively by Hydra.
Well, they liked Terminus. I guess that's something they were comfortable with in the last game, so they're gonna go back to it this time around. Round out with some good splash healing from the Damba. Interesting, you said Willow first pick here for Nemesis as well, putting a high priority there, and now Hydra are in a point where they can really shift this draft how they see fit. I think that this is a good way to round it out.
Agreed.
You get the Barrack, some good stationary frontline controlling with Dome Shield, all that sort of fun stuff. And the Drogos just for a little bit of mobility and some splash AoE damage as well.
Drogos used to be so bad into Terminus. It used to actually be like, I thought it was the freest match, because I played a lot of Terminus. I thought it was the freest matchup.
You're the truther.
And then Wormjets happened, and now it is very rough. If to refer to a specific court case,
yes, right.
SSG versus Envy on Brightmarsh, that was a good example of how hard the matchup is now. I don't know. You must have been on for that game, so you must have seen how that went.
Yes, I did. I remember we asked, I think, Sadak about it post game, and he elected not to comment on the Terminus because you guys ended up winning the set anyway. Strix rounds out the Nemesis lineup here. Hydra convincingly map number 1 on Frog Isle. Map number 2, well, what's going to go different? Let's send it down to your casters to find out.
Well, I'm really curious about just like all these Terminus picks today. Like, I'm genuinely curious about like where this is like all of a sudden coming from, if anything.
Well, we saw a decent amount of it in week number 1. I think there's some viability to it, and I think there's some people saying like that Your aim assist doesn't work quite as well against
yeah.
Terminus, so I think there might be some of that happening. All these things contributing to the big man's viability, of course.
Yeah.
Picks Crush. He's been banned, unbanned, bugged, unbugged for
Yeah.
all types of times and all different parts of history. Terminus has had a rocky one, to say the least. Shatterfall is going to stun any targets that he hits with it. That is his movement ability, for those of you that may be unaware, unfamiliar with this character, as he is not seen super often in competitive play on PC. Probably never, the caster or the desk mentioned, just the one kind of time we saw him in Phase 1, but it did not go well, so I would not expect to see it anymore.
Yeah, they're trying to push in, trying to control this high ground. They do force Hydra at least off of that ridge just a little bit, but not before Impact can find a kill of his own. Now that Hill Time is down, Terminus tries to force Tyler off of it. He does manage to do that, but two of the individuals on Nemesis are already gone. So now they forfeited.
I actually like the healing prioritization there. Barrick gets no healing, keeps himself alive via healing station and out of combat healing. Hydra, game 1, extremely dedicated to the objective, and it appears that is going to be the core of their strategy here in game 2 as well, as they are already moving north of 90%.
Yeah, 90% onto the point. Flame is trying his best to try and get something started. Can't really find it though, forced to back off. Now that Nemesis is on the point though, they're sort of like fighting, going with this back and forth, but it's just like they already forfeited the position itself against that Barrick. The Impact getting so many free rockets onto this team right now. Terminus being void gripped, such a bad spot for him to be in as well. Just shooting all over the place. They're just getting smothered right now in terms of offense by Hydra.
Yeah, and it's pretty impressive given, again, Barrick has been on the objective the entire time. Now, finally, some of the DPS players get to turn their sights to the objective and actually try and deal with this dwarf. 99% though, if somebody steps on uncontested for even a little while, that might just do it. Hydra Gaming grab the first payload.
Double kill for Tyler. Impact manages to catch one of his own. That's a lot of kills to come out as soon as they capture the payload, because now they're actually pushing this forward. Now Nemesis is going to try and scramble back to try and get into this positioning where they need to. The Dragon Punch online, it's going to be hard for them to really just try and find an opening for themselves to change momentum.
Well, 2 minutes on the clock to get this one through and converted. Dragon Punch is ready to go. Fire Impact is super happy to play behind a stasis field. It's one of the safest abilities in the game. It's basically Atlas's shield, as he has no other source of shielding and has no way to counterplay it. No wreckers, no nothing is going to get you through that any sooner than it just simply expires.
Fire Spit comes through, manages to catch the kill onto Mako. Strix goes down as well thanks to Genos. Through time and space, manages to catch him off guard as well. Barrick holding the stairs as the payload is slowly inching its way forward. This payload has not stopped moving almost this entire time. Dragon Punch comes through though, finds Terminus. Hilltime manages to trade it out 1-for-1 by getting a kill onto the Drogos, onto Impact. Tyler goes down as well. This is the first time that Nemesis find themselves at least in control enough to allow themselves to try and change this momentum.
Well, not quite running out of time just yet. Still having some ultimates to work with, but burning Dragon Punch for that. Not seeing the fruits of your labor. It's kind of the 1-for-1 like you mentioned though, Faith Light for the Dragon Punch. It is what it is. Plenty of time to get this one poked out. Back through. Barrage Goggles come up, but will they find any frags? A couple landing in the back line. One lands on Terminus, but overall Nemesis escape unscathed.
Yeah, for the most part, they're really finding what it is they need to. The Ancient Rage goes through though. Very big pop onto Richie. Strix is down now. Now that Terminus is the only one onto the point, it's going to be hard. The stun comes through though. That was so good by Wu. She was able to actually time it well enough to where he can actually get the stun and make it work. The Dread Serpent comes through as well. They don't, they are using the revive, but with 3 individuals down, and Tyler barely taking any damage from that, and they're just starting to smoke him now. Now that Woosh is like the only one really left on the point, he's gonna have to stall out as long as he can with no resurrect. Does find a kill onto Impact though. Tyler does get stunned next. Now Makoa's on the point as well. 50 seconds left on the clock. They are stalling this out so well right now, but the Deja Vu to follow through, but Tyler goes down regardless, followed by Business. And that's going to probably be the round for Nemesis right now.
Honestly, that all comes down to a Maldamba stun to keep Terminus alive a little bit longer, and then he changed the Crush stun into that. And then after the Crush stun expired, then Makoa had respawn and shell spinned his way down. Like, that was honestly such a crazy domino effect. Right before that Maldamba stun, I was like, oh, there's no way that this one's not going in. The reanimate was maybe a little bit late. It works out in this instance, not because of the reanimate itself, but because of the, the chain stunning that happened later on. It was a bit of a risk there with the later reanimate, but Whoosh got it done alongside Jeff the Raccoon again. I want to give almost all the credit for that stall to that Maldamba landing just in time.
That was like, that was so important for them to be able to net that, and you saw the payoff it had. Now that they're up 1-1, Dragon Punch is gone, but it's steadily building through time and space is there, along with the exile coming out from Atlas. One ultimate online, the flashbang for Nemesis right now. Fayfly's coming up soon as well, but Tyler, man, he just ate so much damage, almost uncontested entirely. He does get shot, but oh man, Business returns the sniper battle. 2 Strix immediately does end up getting the kill. Flashbang never got a chance to come through. Impact and Business getting 2 kills, one for each of them onto Hydra Gaming, man. It was so well done by them.
Such a scary mid to long range composition here. The Drogos, the burst mode Victor, and even Atlas, especially Atlas. He just got that big kill. If Atlas rings home a headshot on you, you're taking 1350 damage. You're taking 60-70% of your HP as a damage dealer. Dragon Punch does have the legs to get there. Up into the air now. Fiery Impact might die for this.
No.
His boys are going to bail him out.
Yeah, he seems like he's in a good spot right now. The Exile as well. Just keep that Makoa stunned, locked literally in his spawn, not allowing him to move. Yeah, he's not letting him move at all. Trying to keep him just stuck there so they can actually not only get the points, they wouldn't have any contest. Literally 1 HP. Okay, there we go. There it is. There's the kill. All right, there it is.
It's not every day that you get to see that.
Yeah.
I just want to have an appreciation for that moment of literal 1 HP.
Yeah, literally 1 HP. That's
been doing this a long time, and you don't see that too often.
Yeah, that's really just like not necessarily
that's a nice moment. That's a great gamer moment.
Yeah, it is, because it's like the situations where like somebody's like calling things out. He's like, he's literally won. He's won, and he's literally 1 HP in that instant.
You push the guy, he's like 75% HP. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, very good rewild coming off from Business though to keep himself alive. The Victor does get the kill onto Richie. They want to push forward. They do find on the hill time as well, forcing them literally all the way back into their spawn. Contesting is coming out from Whoosh on the Terminus, but they just pretty much converge immediately onto him, pick him off, and now Nemesis is going to have to try to find some sort of way back on the point.
Well, not long to go now. The payload inching ever closer over the front lines. They're up, or one of them is at least, but it looks like Hydra Gaming just want to let that one go. They have some big ultimates to play with this round, so if they use those appropriately, I think there's plenty of resources in the bank to get this one done and dusted, especially with comeback mechanic. You have to imagine, you look at this scenario and you see how kind of exhausted Hydra Gaming are in terms of ultimates at the moment, and you see comeback mechanic and you're like, well, if Nemesis don't get this one, they probably don't have any business, you know, getting anything on Stone Keep here. This is the time. If Nemesis are going to compete on this map, there's never been a better moment, and there will never be a better moment.
Yeah, because this is either all or nothing right now. They either take this point or they lose game 2. As it is, we see that they're actually just left their spawn, trying to get into position here. Impact is in the spot he wants to be, and he knows Strix is back there, and now he's just going to fire some rockets onto that high ground, try and find someone to get this started with 15% already on the point. First touch is going to Hydra.
And again, straight to the objective with diligence. Nemesis don't really have the time to kind of dilly-dally around, so they're going to go ahead and get in there. Nice shot from Richie from downtown. He's going to clean up Atlas. Dragon Punch is fully charged. They get Whoosh. Ancient Rage could be some good value here for the Dragon Punch. If he can only get it off, but Fiery Impact looks he's just going to let it happen.
Yeah, just that they just decided to back off, just pretty much, you know, respect them in the sense that they already had the position on the point, but now that Strix is gone, we're going to see so much aggression coming from Hydra. It's going to be so difficult for them to try and come back. Willow has to use Fae Flight as a response, but we already hear that Dragon Punch. He wants to go straight through and does find the kill onto the Terminus, but the revive was there. Doesn't get any damage whatsoever onto Tyler, though. Impact not getting 1, but 2 kills entirely for his team. The rest of them following up for pick after pick, 99% onto the point, and that's probably going to be the game more than likely.
Just a little bit better from Hydra Gaming, man. It's really no other way for me to slice it. Straight to the objective. Diligent basically front to back in that game. They do a good job absorbing a lot of those ultimates. Like Ancient Rage happened, but we really died for it. It just kind of like, you know, bought some time. A lot of good things. Dragon Punch forces out the Reanimate. Reanimate is put under the dome shield, it looked like. It was so blue on that Terminus' screen. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's under dome shield right now. So, you know what I mean? It's like plays and counter plays. Every single move, you know, that Nemesis was wanting to make, Hydra just had an answer for it.
You know, they just immediately responded to it as well. They were just like, it was like the Dragon Punch didn't come through until he heard Flayfly. As soon as he did it, I saw a silhouette just charging immediately, and he just went straight forward. Couldn't find the Willow, but did find the Terminus, which led to the Dome Shield. However, the after-game stats here, 72,000 damage on both Impact and the Victor, respectively.
Yeah, solid performance, even given what we would consider that hard hit scan counter Richie on the sniper. Drogoz players have to be very aware of where these counters are, where they play from, what line of sights they have to work with. Now, fortunately, Stone Keep, you play inside of the keep, where we saw Fiery Impact a decent amount of time. For the most part, he stayed outside of line of sight of the Strix, so playing the matchup appropriately, and you can see 12-2, plenty of damage. He was very, very comfortable navigating that matchup.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he had any problems whatsoever with finding the kills that he needed. Once again, Hatsuchibi, 2-0-19. Super good healing. The second
Definitely
game,
so
I believe.
far, yeah.
I believe the second game where they haven't even died, just entirely.
Izzy Tyler, want to, quick shout out to the point frontliner, man.
Yeah, right.
Very diligent, locking it down basically all of Frog Isle, I believe, and Stone Keep as well. Fiery Impact, like we mentioned, have to be aware of where the sniper plays from. But you can see that bottom right silhouette, that Strix down there, that little door, that's pretty much where he is 100% of the time. So Fiery Impact's either playing inside of the keep or back around that corner closer to his spawn as well. Nice fire spits. I mean, I'm noticing little things even about this guy's mechanics, like the way he does his salvo fire spits is very good. He fire spits kind of above his little line of sight and then salvos below it, so the salvo explosion triggers the fire spit and the rocket flying through the spit doesn't do it. It's a very small little min-maxy thing, but it's cool to see a console Drogoz player doing that, and doing all the same little nuanced things that a PC Drogoz would be able to do, because historically, that was one of the characters like they don't touch it, man. They don't really play this character, but more and more we're seeing those Drogozes really get up to par and up to snuff.
Yeah, he's really showing the stuff there for sure. Hydra now currently up, being 2-0. We're going to see what they have in store for us for Game 3 after this break.
Respawn, the official gaming chair of the Paladins Console League.
Oh, with win number 2 in their corner, Hydra Gaming now just 1 win away from unseating Nemesis, putting them down to 0-2 to start off the split, starting their own split off 2-0. It's a fun matchup to watch if you're on Hydra or if you're a fan of Hydra. Not so much the opposite way. Nemesis are able to grab a point on Stone Keep, but still about as one-sided as Frog Isle was.
I don't know if Strix was the answer. I know there was a lot
of
hits
draft
on a different map, on a map where you don't really see snipers. When you do, it's like Kinessa to do that cheesy little blink over the bush strat, Right. So, I don't know. Strix wasn't the answer. He just hid from him the whole time. They needed a hit scan to deal with him because of all the hit scan bans, but I don't know if it was Strix. I think maybe you just go triple another tank and like play inside. You know he's going to kite you. There was a lockdown.
Yeah, I mean, it did not quite hit the mark.
Yeah.
The Drogoz, though, on the opposite side did. Fiery Impact, a game and a half. You could spread out that performance over the entire set. Still probably come out with the win, but Stone Keep his history. Let's see what Map 3 has in store. Maybe Hydra rounding things out on Ice Mines. Nemesis trying to slow things down a little bit.
A map that I would hopefully not see Strix on.
I was going to say,
Strix
same
and Willow
draft.
on this map. I mean, Willow, great.
Willow maybe, sure.
Yeah, Willow, fantastic on this map. I mean, I've talked about circles on this map before, and Willow is a champion of circles, similar to Dredge. Wouldn't be shocked to see any of those blasters here for this zoning, but we'll have to see how they adapt. Nemesis take first pick this time, so unlike their choice on the first map to go second pick, they want to change things up, and that's definitely something they should do after, you know, running the same draft into a brick wall twice in a row.
Yep, first pick here. Bans starting off the same as last time. Still Talus gone, still Tyra gone. First frontline ban of the set with Atlas being taken off
crazy
the board,
to think about, actually.
It's very nice. And then Genos goes by the wayside as well here. So already the draft, Kresnik, building up a little bit differently here. Frontliners, at least Atlas, maybe at a little bit more of a premium. Victor, first pick here for Nemesis. Map of circles. Victor kind of shoots in a straight line barrage.
His ultimate
grenade,
is a giant circle.
AoE. Big old circle there for Nemesis.
I liked Hydra's second ban on the Genos because if they had just banned the Tyra, you know, if they had just taken that out, then Nemesis would have gotten Victor, and Hydra would have been completely dead in the water without those hit scans that have been kind of dominant this game so far. So doing that smart, I think they're going to have a chance to, sorry, not the Tyra, I meant the Vivian, my bad. They're going to get the Vivian and the Grover here, so they have kind of are an even footing now, except they have what some people might call the better healer on Ice Mines.
I mean, to just further drive it home, a map of circles, Grover literally is just a big
he
healing
heals in a circle.
And I think that's all the analysis that needs to be done there.
You've given me
a
physics lessons today. You're starting to give me a geometry lesson today. Dr. Olson is
apparently
here.
I can do everything except add up small numbers in a really short time span. So.
When you're at the collegiate level, you always forget the easy stuff, right?
Right. I need I pull out the calculator even to do 1 + 1 a good bit of the time. Nemesis a 0 though in the win column up to this point, and they need to add 1 to that score to avoid going out here. Makoa Khan rounding out 1 through 3 for Nemesis.
You trespass
Better
unwanted,
draft. I mean,
stranger.
maybe Makoa Khan.
Makoa didn't do too much for
Khan.
them last game, but this map is a lot closer. You know, Makoa has his chance.
I always
to
find it
get
hard
in,
to bet against Makoa.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's hard to. I mean, and Khan's going to put on a lot of pressure too, especially if he's Vortex script, but I don't know if they'll be able to kill the double Immortals, especially if the Terminus is close enough to siphon on them after the stun.
Yeah, it's a lot of staying power that Hydra have there. A lot that Nemesis is going to have to grind through. Victor's a good way of doing it. A lot of, I'm going to shoot you and do a lot of damage to you. And that's what you need to deal with a Nanara, a Terminus, things of that nature. Ying, interestingly enough, not a healer that's really been picked all that much today. It's normally been Damba, Genos, and then Furia if one of the two of them is unavailable. And then Barrack rounds out the Nemesis draft. So you get triple tank. Not so much AoE damage outside of the grenade and the barrage, but some good staying power for Nemesis, and the win rate of triple tank. That bodes well for the left side there.
Yeah, but the win rate of triple tank into Vivian and maybe Grok into the Ying Barrack, that might be a little tough.
I love me.
He supplements the healing. He has an ultimate to let them engage on the squishy target, the Victor. Vivian into triple tank we know is dominant. Everybody on Nemesis has a shield that Vivian's going to want to break.
Yeah.
If there were ever a draft to overthrow the triple tank dominance, minus that one loss they had before.
Right. Might be this one.
It'd be this one.
I love me some damaged Grok. I can hear F. screaming from down the hall. They unlock the Grok, and they're looking to round out our third set of the day with a 3-0 over Nemesis. Nonetheless, casters have some fun.
Not only have we seen Terminus locked all day, but now the damaged Grok on top of that?
Bro, this is going to be a fiesta. I cannot wait to see how this one unfolds, man. It's triple frontline versus something very specifically to just go, you know, sometimes you pivot a little bit. You maybe go for like a 3 DPS or something a little bit more standard. This Hydra Gaming comp is going straight at this 3-tank composition and not giving a damn. They have not one, but 2 healing totems with Grover and Grok. Oh, and it is going to be CC totem, dude.
Yeah, so he's going for
Let's
totemic ward as well. So I guess they're just not trying to be stopped at all for me.
Yeah, this one, it's crazy. So the big thing is you can see the CC immunity for 2 seconds while after leaving you get it as long as you're in the totem and then for 2 seconds after. But also the 30% increased healing throughput for this totem is actually a big part of it as well. This is like almost Ying ultimate level healing that you get from this totem. Grok's going to be providing a
my
lot of utility to this composition.
I love the fact that I saw the totem immediately get dropped and Terminus runs into it and he just starts wreaking havoc. So hard for them to respond to that. The healing is coming through, though. They're holding off so many individuals.
Did he switch? I think he switched to Maelstrom at the last second.
Did he?
I'm not seeing the CC immune glow on that Terminus, which is
Oh, is there like an effect for it?
Yeah, everybody will kind of like give that like goldy, yellowish sort of, CC immune, look at me, I'm so special. Yeah, and you see like a little twinkle around the edge, around the rim of the totem as well. So, and you can also kind of watch the cooldown for the shock pulse, right? Whenever he's hitting something, there's a couple of context clues that you can look out for to help you discern what they're actually playing. Nice placement of the totem there. Totem kind of heals. Almost like a Grover totem is, or a Grover as well. You know what I mean? It has like the ability to go above where it is.
Oh, here we go. The ultimate coming through for Impact as well. They are just not only mowing these guys, but they are pushing them so far back that they really are having a tough time trying to breathe in a situation. The lightning comes through. Unlimited power.
Yes. Grover and Grok pushing back the Makoa too. Is there nothing more poetic than that?
Right, yeah.
The apex predator of the draft for so long, just getting dominated by two of the meme hybrid supports. You love to see it.
Love to see it happen. Now that Vivian's really just up here on this high ground with the rest of them, pops the ultimate. As they ask the question she asks every single time, have you met my friends? And many people have and have died to them as well. Makoa trying to push in, gets the hook. It's going to be really good, but I don't know if it's going to be enough with the Terminus blocking right there. But the battle shot comes through, prevents them from dying. Good job coming from out from Hill time. The resurrection comes through as well. Oh no, I thought I heard the resurrection for a second. It actually did end up being used. He actually kills Impact as well. Richie getting a double kill, forcing them back for the first time on Ice.
It was ready, though, and I think that's kind of worth noting. Let's take a look at the damage charts and see where everybody is starting to stack up. Terminus, frankly, not far off of top damage, which is why I wanted to remark on it. Reanimate is such a big, impactful ultimate that not only takes a long time to charge, like it has a low ultimate charge rate, but Terminus, just by proxy of not having a gun, does not get a lot of ultimate charge per round.
Top of that, the dome shield goes down to try and block the seismic crash coming out from Inari. He blocked most of it, actually, not allowing them to actually just get free reign of it like they wanted to, but now they forced them all back into this corner. This is a bad spot for them to be in because the rest of them are just going to start coming through. He has to use the ultimate to make sure they stay out. Hill time does get killed. Ancient Rage comes through as well. They're trying to not only stall, but trying to see if they can get a kill to get even more momentum, but Flame diving a little bit too hard in that scenario, and Whoosh getting killed right after that.
This is exactly the fiesta that I signed on for with this match. I love these drafts. A lot of fun to watch. This one's going to be definitely chaotic moving forward as well. The chaos is not going to slow down. If anything, it'll speed up because Wreckers are going to blast through these shields a little bit quicker. Hydra Gaming, frankly, Power Siphon and Inara's damage reduction, those are not affected by any offensive items, right? So they're going to stay tanky. Their healing's going to fall off a little bit, but overall, they're going to stay a little bit tankier than the Nemesis front line will.
Yeah, damage is being absorbed right now by Business on the top flank right now. He just went in with the Shatterfall to try and make sure he can get some damage or possibly a stun. They're just being super aggressive now, but Vivian looking really, really low, super hard to actually try and move in with your health stat low, so she's waited just a little bit. Battle Shot to give herself some damage immunity, but living so low once again. The ultimate from Grok comes through, try and find a pick. He does find one at least onto Flame Effects. Victor being forced back into his spawn to get some healing as well. They are pushing so heavily into their base right now. He's not moving. He's literally keeping two of them forced back into their spawn.
Get in there.
Just swinging.
Get in the door.
Just back. Get back.
I love it, man. This is, absolutely fearless play from King Business. Does not pop his reanimate there, but for the most part, he's having a good round. He's having a good time. This is one of the more fun Terminus performances that I've had, the pleasure of watching. This is a good map for him as well. There's only a couple places you can come in, and there's a lot of corridors for him to hold down around that objective. Grok is a perfect little pocket support to go with that Terminus, because as Grok, you want somebody like standing in front of you to throw your totem on, so you can just kind of tee off with your shock pulses. And you can see Grok is managing to stay even above Richie's Victor in terms of damage. A couple of Master Ridings picked up as well for Hydra Gaming. It's a good 2-0 start. They have a lot of momentum right now, Stefan. I don't know if this train is planning on stopping anytime soon.
Neither do I. With the reanimate, Seismic Crash, and Vivian's ultimate all ready to go, I feel like they're going to try and force something. Some good damage coming onto Inara, but Vivian being the first to pop her ult already, trying to see if they can melt this Makoa. Seismic Crash, for them to use that many ultimates, not only in that small room, but on Makoa and Barrick, that's going to be a lot of damage coming out onto them. Nice Shatterfall coming out from Terminus. This is where he wants to be. He wants to die in the back line, or at least forcing them to back off in the middle of their team. He's just sitting there. Now they are forcing so much.
Overpower
all the way
missed.
back. Yeah, and I was about to say that. Overpower missed as well. Nemesis on the back foot, dude. It's going to be so hard for them to come back to even try to contest. It's going to be it probably for this point.
Yeah, Hilltime just turned his brain off for a second. It looked like he wanted to make a move for the objective, but realized there was just no chance. And rather than, feed that kill and guarantee that there's going to be a lot of momentum. Speaking of momentum,
oh
look
my
at this,
gosh,
coming
look
down
at
the
that.
hill like a goddamn freight train. Terminus boosted by Grok,
Look
up
at
onto the high
that.
ground. That was, see what I mean? Like this, I just knew this was going to be a fun one to watch for sure. There's no way it wasn't.
And never in my life would I imagine to see a Grok Terminus running you down.
That was fun.
That is the most terrifying thing that Nemesis had to fight just right there. They had to make sure that they had an answer for it and didn't even have one in the time it took for them to get run down like that. Grok does get hit. Uses Ghost Walk to try and give himself some damage immunity just for a little bit. Regen that health. Does find it a little bit. Is getting shot at though. Taking a little bit too much damage from Makoa though. Not going to try and risk diving all the way back there though. Barrage getting the Vivian low and does find at least a pickup kill on them. 2 kills. Also Chibi and the Vivian go down. Impact finding a kill of his own though. Using the Ghost Walk 1v1ing this Makoa as well. He refuses to back down, but he does go down. 2 flame effects. But the payload's in a very good spot. They pushed it a good amount for them to at least come back to something.
Jeff's going to pick up 2 with the mirror as this fight kind of comes to a quiet close. 1:10 on the clock. Hydra Gaming building up some of these ultimates. Reanimate the furthest off the mark for the time being, but they still have some to get this one punched through if they so desire. Tough stuff here for Whoosh. 0-4 on the Barrack. About middle of the pack on damage. It's just so much momentum. The way these fights happen, it's vicious and delicious, man. No other way to put it. There's a lot of pressure that can just kind of explode forward, especially off the back of these Grok Tempests. It's the perfect go button.
Oh, you use the Ancient Rage to try and at least get some damage or anything onto this Terminus. They're going to try and run down Grok. He's going to back off. Since they didn't actually dismount, oh, here we go. Here's the situation we were just in before. Tyler does go down, but the rest of them are following through. Now it's Victor versus Grok, and he does get the kill onto Impact. Hatsuchibi goes down next, followed by Vivian. Nice play coming out from Richie, getting a triple kill that's going to net his team actually the win. They won't be able to make it back in time if they manage to land these dismounts into the Inara.
No, they're probably good. You're right. Inara's close by, but nobody else is. Even if she made it through there, even if she got the touch, even if overtime was started, it would have been a pretty vain attempt overall. Nemesis use a couple things: Dome Shield, Ancient Rage, Illusory Rift, so hopefully they're just not too gassed at this point. Here's that fun replay. But okay, so he boosts that Terminus in. That was a great Shatterfall, but chasing down this Victor, you can see he was still so slow from the Tempest. That was pretty big brain. I think Fire Impact is playing this Grok very, very, very well.
He is. Meanwhile, Richie's at the top of the damage charts with the Grok being closely second. And that's one thing I didn't expect to see either. The Vivian Terminus leading up the ranks for that situation.
Yeah, I think part of it is, again, Ice Mines and how many Tempests have come up as a result. Like, there's so much free supplemental, not only movement speed, but Fire Impact. You can see he's flying through Terminus sort of over these fights. So not only is he boosting the speed of Terminus, he's applying a slow onto a couple people from Nemesis as well. So there's this huge movement speed swing for Terminus, which is how he's able, I think, to get in there and be effective for so long. Yeah, he does good damage, he just can never get to people. That's his thing.
Right, yeah, so he has to use that ult to actually try and close the gap between individuals. They are putting pressure onto this Terminus, though. Seismic Crash coming through, does manage to snipe Flame Effects just as he was rolling away. No more from him. The overpower as well. I don't know if that actually missed or if he got killed when he grabbed him.
That sounds like, that's like the I missed it noise. So once he respawns, we'll be able to see for sure. He might have got killed mid-animation windup. Last-ditch effort here with the Barrage Goggles coming up, slamming down, but it's Hydra Gaming, man. Start to finish. That was a blast.
Yeah, with a
I
consistent
had fun with
3-0.
that
Yeah,
one.
with a consistent 3-0 and with the Grok Terminus combo on Ice Mines to close it out, I think that was a good way to end it more than anything.
Really, really happy with the way that turned out. Exactly as I wanted it to.
Yeah.
Neither of these teams kind of scared to go straight at one another, and that's how you get some of the most fun Paladins. And in the competitive scene, sometimes you get that very safe backline poking, dodging, dipping, diving on the back sides of the map, running scared. But sometimes it's good to just get one of those out of the way every once in a while. Absolute slugfest between Hydra and Nemesis.
Yeah, big damage coming off from Grok though. Like his lighting, I think his shock pulse just bouncing between all those targets. Going to be super hard, racking up all the damages. So many Maelstroms on Hydra's side, man.
Yeah, he picked, or Kresnik mentioned running that into Barrack Ying, all like the most deployables possible. This is, aside of them not having an Inara, this is the perfect composition to run Grok into because you get all of those guaranteed bounce targets, and that's literally the crux, the life, the heart and soul of that Grok build.
Yeah, most of them, Business and Hatsuchibi, they may be negative, but they do have a lot of assists, and we definitely saw their impact come into play throughout this entire match. Just super well done. Nemesis not doing too bad either, but still, the day just favored Hydra in this situation.
And when so many people are out there just, running full speed at the enemy, creates a lot of space for Vivian to kind of just do her thing as well. So Wadok having another great and also, critical performance, because with all the flash and bang that Grok and Terminus were bringing to the front line, it's just nothing compared to just the straight up DPS that Vivian. Like, she by herself was probably putting about, the amount of DPS out in these fights that Terminus and Grok were able to do as well.
And on top of that, just having the Maelstrom at the right time just allows them to be even more so aggressive than they already were. Seismic Crash landed onto Flame Effects, and that would be like the final pick. Yeah, he did end up missing the overpower in that last situation. Very, very tough for Nemesis. But a great game for Hydra, though, on Ice Mines.
Yeah, super fun to watch. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Getting to see a very successful Terminus perform. Not, being defensive, AFKing on the objective. Getting to see a Terminus just go at people and be successful it's a rare and special treat.
Yeah, it is. And now we're going to take a look at the scheduling here so far. Just throughout the day, so many wins, so many losses. Aaron Manor taking it over, Aerial Arise, Flashpoint, Bust Down, Vroom Vroom, Onslaught, and now Hydra Gaming now winning for PS4 North America. But we're going to be going straight to Xbox North America right after this, though.
Sure will.
Yeah. We're gonna try and see what it is we could do with the I think the standings for right now. See how it is that the rest of these teams are holding up since the day has been going through. Hydra Gaming now currently up 2-0, Onslaught up 2-0 as well, with Strimix and Nemesis with 2 losses to follow up. They're gonna have to make a long climb as well. Like, they have to at least manage to try and get 3 games to try and leave themselves in the positive in this situation.
Yeah, we're seeing this time around, contrary to last week, there's actually been things other than like 3-0s. There was a lot of just like the clean 3-0s last week. This one we're seeing some 3-2s even. There's a pretty big upset. Bust Down losing 3-2. A couple of 3-1s there as well. So these plus minuses will start to look a little bit less clean than they did through week 1.
Well, with Hydra ended up taking it 3-0, we're going to cut right to break, and then we'll be right back for the final game of the PCL.
Skillshot, the official production partner of the Paladins Console League.